Welcome back to the channel, everyone. Today is an exciting video. I've actually got Pedro on the channel. I was thinking, who else is as enthusiastic about funnels as myself? And so I wanted to invite him onto the channel because I think there's so much we can learn from funnels. And if you're a coach, if you are getting started with online marketing, or you think it can be improved through sales funnels, I think we're going to learn a lot today from Pedro's story, his experiences, and yeah, so excited to dive into it. So thanks for being here, man.
Likewise, very, very happy to be here, Joshua.
Incredible. Well, let's start off then, nice and easy. Your story. Where did funnels come into it? Obviously, now you are a great coach of funnels. You share content all the time, and you're helping a lot of people now, as well as your own agency, right? Helping clients. So, where did it all start with funnels?
Right. So it started like 7, 8 years ago when I saw an ad from ClickFunnels, a webinar, talking about this new thing, funnels. So I was like, okay, I'm curious. I've always been enthusiastic in digital marketing. I had this background in design and then social media management and all these things and website development. So I was like, okay, cool. Just as another video, I'm gonna join the webinar and done. So that concept was cool to me because I always loved two things: sales and design. So
Mm.
I was certainly like trying to understand where I would be a better fit. Like, should I focus 100% on sales and be maybe a sales rep, or should I focus on design and keep growing that way? But then that concept stuck in my mind. I started learning more and more and more. It will be like a year since I really took it seriously. And then after a year of watching and learning and joining a lot of webinars, I started to give it a chance and I started to implement it. I started to learn how to do it myself and all that stuff. So I started implementing, and things started to become more and more interesting. And right now that's my full-time thing.
That's awesome, man. So you have a bit of a design background because I don't know if you're aware, like I came from graphic design as well. I used to do esports graphics and then I eventually learned logo design. And then somewhere in that branding and logo design, I was working with the same kind of clients, like online coaches, just out of luck, I reckon. I don't know how, but so yeah, my background was entirely branding and like that's how I somehow came across funnels. So is that the same for you then?
Cool. Yeah,
Social
absolutely the
media.
same. I mean, I was doing, flyers, posters. I was doing images for other people to use on their, on their creative projects. So that was what I was doing. And then, of course, I already had a little bit of experience in working. I was working full time on a. Back then, I was doing social media for 5 different gyms. So I was doing like all their front end stuff. But yeah, that's what also how I got into, combining these concepts and getting into funnels.
That's awesome, man. That's awesome. 7, 8 years. Wow. What is your favorite part about them? Like obviously when you're into the branding world, when you're into the graphic design world, the whole funnels thing is quite confusing. So I'm assuming the webinars really helped you, but like what really caught your attention about it all? Because it's quite different, isn't it, coming from like graphic design to because you got to learn this entire new terminology and it's like it's websites, but it ain't quite websites. So I'm curious what kind of pulled you to it.
So basically, it was back then I was, learning or watching a lot of videos about sales and cold calling and how to become better salesman. Because I wanted to grow my own business, my own thing, right?
Yep.
uh, and uh, and then with webinar concept, it was that thing was like you can sell whatever your service is, using this new concept for sales funnels, and it works online, so you don't need to cold call, need to do none of this stuff. It's just pure like build a funnel, launch the funnel, get your stuff out there, and you are going to be able to make it. So of course
Mhm.
people made it super simple, so we could get started without feeling the pressure there. But that's how everything rolled out very naturally. And then I started just making, the more I learn about it, the more I realize that this might be something I should try. Because of those two reasons, I had a little bit of design skills there, above average, absolutely. And I was just like, why don't I combine the best of both worlds? I use my
Mm.
design skills as leverage, because back then there was not a lot of funnel designers. There was those typical pages, template pages, and all that stuff. So there was a little bit of people that a little bit of demand in terms of making the pages look a little bit better. So that's what I focused on. I focused on learning the ClickFunnels 1.0 editor, the classic. I focused on learning everything from A to Z. So then, in trying to push it to these limits to turn your pages looking better. And oh man, and then after I learned about conversions, so I had to
Mm.
relearn everything I was implementing. I was just watching everything in terms of the design, how beautiful it looked, perspective. But then I learned about concepts like customer journey, and then conversion rates, and then it's like human, buying psychology. So I had to readjust everything I've learned to fit into that concept. So I mean, to answer your question directly, everything flew in, like very very naturally, and it was just everything was just making sense. I was learning sales. I was implementing design. Funnels were combining both things. There was a lot of people hyped up about it. Let's get into it.
Bam. I love that, man. So you literally saw an opportunity combining multiple skills that you was already kind of going after, and like, yeah, the perfect opportunity. That's wicked, dude.
Absolutely.
I definitely agree with you. Back then, it was like early on ClickFunnels classic, kind of everyone was using the same templates. Like you knew if it was a ClickFunnels funnel, and eventually I was like, well, maybe we can get it looking a bit more professional. You know what I mean? So that's how I got my first opportunities. But that's wicked. And today, like, what kind of funnels are you designing today for people?
Right. So what I end up finding most joy and also success was within anything digital information, like digital courses, whether it's just for a simple digital course or something more strategic, like an SLO, right? Like a self liquidating offer or low ticket offer, whatever whatever we want to call it.
Mhm.
And then application funnels for coaches. There's something that I also worked on a lot, and one that I get a lot of joy building, but I don't have as many funnels in my belt is SaaS pages, right? And the main reason why I haven't focused on that is just because it's a whole different world in SaaS. It's like once you get in and you want to become really good at SaaS, it's like it's a whole different world. Now it's not just sales pages. You need to understand about the entire structure of SaaS, and then be able to provide a lot more than just a funnel design, because
Mhm.
that's just the entry point. Then you have everything else. You have the churn rates. You have the getting people excited to keep rolling, to increase the engagement rate, to get them to learn. The learning phase on the SaaS is very complicated.
Mhm.
So all these things. So I have a lot of fun building those funnels. But where I really really shine and where I really focus on is anything information, like info products. I also build funnels for myself on info products. So that's where I'm most, like, I would say, like 90% focused on.
That's awesome. Yeah, pretty much same here, man. Those are the best ones, and yeah, you're right. I've done a couple SaaS ones. It's definitely a new world, right? With Go High Level and everyone moving over to making their SaaS. I've had a couple requests for it, but yeah, it's much more than that. Definitely, it's not. I don't think it's as easy as people. It's not as easy as just whacking up your logo on Go High Level and just calling it a
Yeah.
day. You got to take care of those customers. So.
it
Uh,
de- it depends at what level you want to play in, right? If you want to play in level where just you deliver the page is done, that's fine. I mean, you can make it that way. But if you want to really be engaged in client results, it's a lot more, like, you need a lot more than just design knowledge and conversion knowledge on the front end to really
mhm,
help them build something successful. And with funnels, to be honest, you can also do that with digital products. You can also do that, but you have a lot more control over the outcome if you are just focused on the front
yeah.
end, the traffic, the conversion on the funnels. And then of course you can increase it and grow it to a bigger opportunity if you work on something more back end, but you already have a lot of control on the front end. So that's where I ended up with, just because I like simplicity. I like a peaceful business, and SaaS is a lot more than just a peaceful business. SaaS is a lot of it's a lot of work, a lot of commitment in that sense.
Mhm. Makes complete sense, man. I couldn't agree with you more. And I know a lot of people as well, like, um, a lot of people watching my channel and the kind of direction that I've been, building up for the kind of community here on my channel is simplicity, it's freedom, it's not just about maximizing numbers. I've never been about that. 2 years ago I made the decision. It was literally like my setting my New Year's goals, and I thought, what do I want 2024 to be all about? And I thought, well, I actually don't like going maximum balls to the wall. Like, I want to make as much money because now I have a fiance, I moved countries, and I love to travel and I love that freedom. And I think there is a missing gap of those people, because coaches too, man. Coaches don't have time. I've never met one coach who has loads of time for funnels, to figure it all out, to run a SaaS on the side. It's like they need trusted people. They need
Of
hands-off
course.
options and enjoy their coaching business. I don't know if you found the same with your clients as well, but they're always quite busy.
Of course. I mean, just think about it, right? Like their main goal is to transform other people's lives. So that itself is just like really really exhausting, time energy consuming, time consuming. And that's where their energy needs to be to improve their process of transforming people's lives. And like if you add on top of that learning about the concept of funnels, which funnel type to do, what kind of offers to launch, how to make it work, like the back end stuff, the email automations, like follow-up sequences, DMs, like it's crazy, it's crazy. Like you end up working like 14 hours a day and
Yeah,
for 3 4 5 years to try to make it all work, right? So this is also why there's a very big concept in ClickFunnels community, which is find your who, right? So it's like who is
yeah,
going to be the best person to help you get to where you want to be, because there's no way that you're going to be able to focus on all that stuff. So um, even with the help of AI, right? AI can help a ton, but at the end of the day, that's another new skill that they need to learn. It's just like relearning funnel building, right?
yeah.
I kind of find it funny when people say like AI is going to replace people's jobs, and probably will, right? It's going to adjust how things roll. But at the end of the day, if you are working for results, if you are looking to not just build pages, but to actually help other people get more clarity on where to focus on their sales process, on the customer journey, right? That stuff. Like you will have tons of work to do.
I agree. Yeah, I completely agree. I think it's a lot. It's a lot. That's why obviously people come to people like us, because if we obsess about this every day for like 8 years, and for me it's been more like five has been about funnels. The other three was branding and stuff, but
Yep.
that's why you need to find the who and not the how. So I'm just grateful, and I love to hear as well, like the mission behind, and what you like most of working with these people, because it's definitely that being able to take their idea and not bring it to life. Whereas
Yep.
without the who, dude, so many coaches have great ideas and they just can't, like the technology. How do I build a funnel? Like, it's too much for them. So that's why I love to work with coaches, and I'm curious about yourself as well, and how it's been for you working with those people.
Well, I mean that it's you know that part is at the end of the day we want to make sure that we are good at communicating. That's the first thing. So when especially when I work with someone, I can even give an example. My newest client, right? He's a coach. He's amazing at helping other people transform their lives in a in the real estate niche. He helps them increase their sales and all that stuff. But as far as building his own marketing strategy, like how he's going to, like what kind of offers are the front end offers, so he can scale to get more visibility. What kind of offers are going to be those who he can use to filter potential buyers to just freebie seekers, right? Or how can he set things up to get more qualified calls and all that stuff. Like these, when you start looking at this in perspective, where from a perspective of a coach that has no background on marketing and all that stuff,
Mhm.
it becomes very very overwhelming. So that's where I believe that we can make the best change or the best help, or get them to to move towards the right direction, is identifying or understanding what they are working for, what they are working on, who they are working for, what's the main goal, and then how we can create a strategy they can rely on for the next 1 year, 2 years, and then they can scale and without having to worry about always adjusting, always building new funnels or new offers or whatever. Like that's what I believe is our or my biggest goal, is to be able to help to build them something that makes sense for their business goal, makes sense for strategic wise, like getting them results for their marketing standpoint, and then it's something that they can they they put it in place, don't have to worry more about it. I'm going to be there just to improve conversion, because it's not like built and that's it. You need to keep on improving it. But that's where I believe it's the biggest value. It's not just building those pages, although there's a lot of value there, but it's helping our clients or coaching specifically to get this clarity on what kind of sales structure they can use to then grow their impact without having to worry about none of this stuff. They can just focus on their main thing.
Yeah, exactly. And let's talk more about that, as in, if someone is watching this and like, well, why do I need a funnel? I'm watching all this content and I'm like, not really sure if it's going to be good for my business. Well, you touched on a great point with it can last for years, right? You
Yeah.
set it, and one of the most important parts is making little consistent tweaks. And in our funnel world, we call it optimization, right? But it's really just making little improvements. But talk more on that idea that once it's live, it's a huge chunk of work off your head, and now you can like let your funnel exist in the world, and it actually takes off a ton of pressure. So I'm yeah, interested in your perspective with that, for the time saved and how long funnels can live for a coach.
Right. So in my experience, the one thing I always try to do, depends on the level of the coach, of course, but one thing I always try to do is to build one structure for the three main audiences that they will have, that everybody has when they're building a presence online. The
Mm-hmm.
first one is those people that find them, but they don't really know them, right? So if your audience, like if someone from your audience is a coach and is trying to feel like, why would I need a funnel? I don't need a funnel. It doesn't work. I need this or that or that. It's like, it's not really about the technical. It's not about the terminology like funnel. It's about the things that you put in place that is going to help your audience know more about you without having to reach out to you, right?
Mm-hmm.
So what's the first thing that happens when you launch a great piece of content, or that you launch a new offer or whatever? You want more people to be curious, right? To get more information about it, so that they make a qualified decision to jump on board, to be part of your business, to be your client, right? So that's the main goal. So everything starts with attention, of course, but then, which is mostly what coaches work on first, which is attention, creating the social presence and all that stuff. But then, how can they get the attention to more information, more clarity, more excitement, and then becoming a client? All these few steps, if you do it in the standard way, it's like people need to send you a DM so that they exist. They need to ask you a question, and most people, then when they ask the questions, they don't ask qualifying questions. They ask what they believe it's more important for them. But here's the thing: when you are making sales, that is not the most important part. The most important part is that they get the clarity on the fundamentals, so that they will get eventually what they want afterwards, right? So getting clarity on those processes. So instead of the coach have to learn how to do that and how to understand what they are asking, and then how to guide the call or guide the conversation, and doing a little bit of like a sales rep kind of job, they can simply have a page with the information. People go there, they get the information, and then they get excited if the copy is any good, and they get hyped up if there's urgency, FOMO, if there's a good offer, right? So all these things, once they have these things in place, a lot of that work is removed from their workload, because they don't have to, they don't need to. Of course there's going to be a little bit of support there, of course, but most of it,
Mm-hmm.
it's completely removed from them. So this is what I mentioned, like the most important thing is going to be understanding that it's not just about the funnel. It's just like when the websites were the thing, right? Website, everybody is a website, everyone is a website. And then when websites became so popular that everybody was selling for $100, and then everybody was like being burned out, right? And I already got 2 funnels, or already got 2 websites, didn't work. They lost the faith in that,
Mm.
because it's not about the technical thing. I have a website, therefore I'm going to be successful. No, it's how you organize your sales process, a website, or a funnel, or whatever, or a chatbot, whatever it is. It's
Yeah.
there to provide guidance from the attention. Once your leads, your audience has the attention, they will be curious, they will need more information. So how are you delivering that information is super important. It can be through an automated chatbot, it can be through DMs, it can be through your content, whatever. But you need to have an automated way that is efficient, gets people excited, curious, interesting, and then to move forward in the sales process. But anyway, I don't want to take too long with this kind of stuff. It's
No,
something I'm
no,
excited,
bro.
passionate about. But
This is
yeah,
gold. This is gold. It makes me excited because it's like how much funnel the whole idea of a funnel is like it's not about that word specifically, but it's actually about sales. And I love that's where your background is. But the whole point is you're taking everything you would do normally, like manually, if you saw that person in front of you or you rang them up or they DM'd you, you're just taking all that best sales process and putting it on a nice streamlined page. That's why it's like the simplicity of if you're confused about funnels, just whatever you would do anyways, stick it on a page and
yeah,
people will go through that same sales process. And
yeah. And there's
that's the
one more
time
thing,
saving.
by the way. There's one
Please.
more thing, Josh, if you allow me to also share here with your audience, which is that a lot of people don't put this in perspective, which is like a funnel is not just to make the sale, right? The funnel is like they get the attention, and then they allow us to understand who from our audience, from our tens of thousands of followers, right? Or hundreds of thousands of followers, right? Who from that audience is very dedicated to what we are building. So we can identify who they are. We can send them, customized information. We can make sure that they have a better relationship with our brand, with our products, and therefore with that you can build a much bigger, a much bigger, not bigger, a much bigger
Yeah.
brand and a much bigger impact. So when people go through the funnels, you can set up automations, you can set up triggers where you can identify, okay, this person likes this, that person likes something else, right? So understanding what are the different triggers, the buying triggers of each lead is super important, because imagine this way, imagine funnels, right? When people are interested in funnels, they are interested in funnels for multiple different reasons, right? Like a funnel designer, when someone wants to learn how to build funnels, why? Like, do you want to learn how to design funnels? Do you want to become better at design? Do you want to become better at copy? Do you want to become better at automations? Do you want to become better at conversion rate? Do you want to become better at providing people's results? Like, there's a huge set of things that the emotional triggers, the buying triggers that people have. So when you are a coach and you help people get a specific transformation, you want to know specific for each lead what's their emotional trigger, because ultimately if you understand that, you can give them by information for that emotional trigger and
Mhm.
increase your closing rate by a ton. And when you start implementing these with quizzes, for example, they're amazing to do this stuff, right? If you are focused on GOI level, like you have surveys, you have forms, you have, a whole CRM that you can utilize in your favor and take advantage of that. And then you can segment your email list and understand, okay, in my 2,000 people in my email list, or 10,000 or 100,000, I have 2% that are interested in this specific thing of the transformation. I
Mhm.
have 36 that are interested in that. I have um, 47 that is interested in these other topics. So you can understand what the majority of your audience is interested in. And then this is going to help you with what kind of content you can create, what is the next micro offer you want to launch, or micro idea you want to analyze. And this is a funnel, but it's more than just a page. This is more than just a design. This is more than just something you're going to put in and try to make your business grow. So that's what I get the most joy and most fun of, is helping my clients to take the funnels one step deeper, like really trying to get all these background things. So this is going to help them to get a better idea of their audience. They get to the CRM, they see the information, they get more clarity, and they move forward. Anyway, just wanting
Wow.
to add this
That
small
was
thing.
no, love that man. Love that man. Look, so much psychology comes into online marketing in general. It's one of the reasons I love Russell, Russell Brunson. For anyone watching, you've probably heard of him. Um, it's so much about the sales, the psychology, like entering the mind of that person, and as they read the page. That's why you say the copywriting is like, it used to trip me up so much. And I realized at some point you just got to write down what they have in their head. And if you can do that enough times, then they'll be interested in reading on and then whatever you have to offer. So, yeah, totally agree, man. There's so much you can do. I think when you start building it up, there's so many little, not complexities, but there's more levels to this than just having a funnel page up. Um, exactly what you're describing. So for a lot of people, like they might be in those starting stages where it is a bit more simple. They maybe they don't know how to do all of that stuff. And I wanted to ask you because I talk a lot about kind of my opinion on what the best funnels are, which one to start with. And I wanted to ask you the same question. Like, where would you
Mhm.
say if someone's a coach, right? All they want to do is help people. Let's be
Yeah.
honest, and they don't really know what funnel they need. Um, what's your opinion on that? And does it change? I'm curious because different situations, maybe a different funnel's better. So,
Yeah, of course. At the end of the day, one thing that I always try to understand is each one of my clients' personalities, right? Because the
mm,
best funnels, we can argue which funnels have the best conversion rates, like technically, mathematically, which one has the best ones. But then, is it going to really help you grow, consistently, sustainably to your specific business? Because that is going to depend on who you are as a person, right? So your personality is going to
mm,
determine exactly like what kind of funnels are you going to do. For let's say, for example, that challenge funnels are the best funnels to convert people, like to sell high ticket, right? What if the person doesn't like a lot of attention or to speak a lot of time to do presentations to optimize those presentation? What if your client despises that activity, right? Are you
yeah,
still going to force them to do that? I mean, you might convince them, but after a month or two, they are going to be exhausted because just the activity of clicking on Zoom and then trying to do this again and again and again, like probably is not going to be healthy for their business. And then you can always argue, yeah, you can do an evergreen. All right, sure. But, the other day I was watching the other day was like a few months ago. But anyway, I was watching two guys talking about webinars and stuff like that. And this idea around webinars is that you create 2 hour or 6 minute, 60 minutes presentation and then you start making sales, right? But in reality, on average, their clients were making like 12 presentations before they hit the presentation with the highest ROI.
wow,
So, so all these things, like how can you make this happen? How to make this happen with someone that is not prepared to do that? With someone is not prepared to reshoot the webinar like 12 times, right? So the best funnels. I'm gonna share that in a way that the ones that I like the most, that are simplest to launch, and the ones that might you know work better for you or for your audience depending on their personality. So the ones that I like the most right now are the self-liquidating offers, right? A lot of big marketers
mm,
are doing that because it allows you to acquire a buyer's list, without having to worry too much about your ad spend.
mm,
So there's a lot of stuff there. SLO, Anik Sigal is promoting that like crazy, right? And
mm,
there's those AC funnels, which is basically the exact same concept, but with a different chain, like with Ascension model, right? With that, um, Alex Sultanik is promoting it like crazy, getting massive success. Those two types of funnels are right now the hottest things in terms of returns. Where for me at least, the biggest companies are and biggest coaches are using.
mm,
Um,
mm.
but then you also need to have a backend thing that determines qualifies those audiences, those who buy, gets them on a specific group, and then you need to be proactive in getting them engaged in part of your brand to then be excited to go to your biggest offers, right?
Exactly.
So those are probably the ones that I'm more focused on right now, and probably you are as well, from what you told me, right? And and of course, there's application funnels, but application funnels are getting harder and harder and harder to crack because because the audience is becoming more and more aware of how those things work. So
Mm,
when the audience is really aware towards the marketing tricks, they're going to have a bigger resistance, and when they have a bigger resistance, less conversions, higher CPM. So all those things are play a big part, or a big role. But yeah, application funnels are also pretty cool to build. And then if you have the personality for that, I truly believe that challenge funnels are still really a good way to make things interesting, to make an audience fall in love with you the fastest way possible. And Yeah, those are pretty much the ones that I prefer. They're also built for not just for my clients but for myself as well. I'm going to launch a challenge very very soon as well. So those things are exciting. Um, and then just the last one is the membership funnel. But the membership funnel is something that I don't recommend launching as the front end offer. You
mm,
kind of want to
yeah,
prepare, launch it, right? You know that
agree.
as well. So there's those types of funnels that I'm more passionate about, that I believe are super good right now.
That's awesome. So just to reiterate for everybody watching, so it was a self-liquidating offer, low ticket products, right? That one relies heavily on having a lot of upsells. So there's quite a lot of moving pieces. The other one, application funnels, right? That's where people will learn about your high ticket stuff, but they need a lot of nurturing to get to that point. Um,
Yep.
Challenge funnels a little further down the line, and membership funnels as well further down the line. And so completely agree with all of those. And actually, something really interesting you said about challenge funnels, and I'm excited to see you launch yours. Um, I've been watching Russell Brunson's course, so if anybody knows, he's done a big rebrand, this thing called Prime Movers, and he has a new program. He's been doing a 3-day challenge to like sell that course, and one of the replays inside was a speaker he brought in to talk about challenges, and it was this cool case study. And again, I'll do the shortest version of it, but it excites me as well to do a challenge myself. And basically, on the front end, um, the way this is where you can actually start combining multiple funnels, and that is a whole nother thing, right? It's joining them together. So a free challenge, how if you're spending ads on leads for that free challenge, or how do you get the money back? But that's where you introduce the self-liquidating offer. You kind of integrate that, so when people sign up, you're like, hey, by the way, grab this before the challenge.
Yep.
And this guy had done that, and he had spent 150K on ads and get about 32,000 signups for this challenge. Um, he had made back about 110K after the SLO. So first of all, that's like really, really cool to know that you're able to make some of your ad spend back. But the kicker
Mhm.
was on that challenge from selling his main program, he made about 1.7 million afterwards. And seeing his case study blew my head off, because I'm like, people don't realize that these days, with rising ad costs, with more, like you say, the space is getting competitive, it's actually not about the front end anymore, because it's becoming increasingly hard to be
Yep.
profitable on the front end. So
Yep.
it's all reliant now on doing a great job, over delivering, and like you said, finding your medium, how you find best to serve clients, and having a strong back end of more levels people can ascend to. And so I wanted to share that because, man, that it blew my head off. So it's got me super pumped up. Of like, same thing with self-liquidating offers.
Yep.
Like, you can lose on ads on the front end, it don't matter anymore. It doesn't. That's the game. Is who can spend the most on that lead and that buyer, and to do a good enough job that they want to, you know, get to your other levels. So.
Absolutely, absolutely. I recall a couple of years ago, Russell introducing that idea through the
Mm,
linchpin, right?
mm,
You remember, you call it linchpin, right? So
ex-
that's a similar idea, but that had a very complex thing Like
Mhm.
people had a very hard time learning it. So right now, what I believe is happening, but correct me if I'm wrong, um, is Russell readjust the way he taught how to do the linchpin in a much easier way, so that people get excited about implementing it themselves as well. And totally agree with you when you mentioned that the front end is just something to get your foot, out there to get people to know you and all that stuff. And but the real thing happens on the back end, right? So
Mhm.
which then again, this idea of when people come to us and say, I want to launch a digital course funnel, sure. How are you going to promote it? Organic traffic or paid traffic? And they say, yeah, I want to do paid traffic. Sure. What is your offer? What is your structure? What is your offer sequence? It's just the course. Okay, how much is going to be? It's going to be $300. You are done. Like it's going to
Yeah.
be super hard to make it happen for you without being hurtful for the business. So when we reintroduce this idea, I do this a lot in my discovery calls with leads, and even the other day, like I was having a conversation with this guy. He was finding some success with organic, 15,000 followers on Instagram. Was starting to find his success, and
Mhm.
he did a launch. He did a launch last year, like 1 month. He made 50 sales, made over 2,000. It was amazing. It was like, wow, amazing. I started making money from my audience and all that stuff. But then he said, my goal is to make six figures from this passively. I was like, okay, what is the main strategy I'm going to be implementing? Oh, it's just the same thing. So I'm going to launch this offer, and then I'm going to start running some ads, and I'm going to get there. I was like, sounds good, but is it realistic? And then I
Mhm.
started sharing that his offer was not scalable, was going to suffocate him because he had a $50 offer for a year of membership. So it's
50
like
for a year.
for a
Wow.
year of the membership, right? So he was happy because he thought it was a killer offer, which it was, of course, right? Everybody wants that,
Mm.
but um, at least for the price point, was captivating, obviously. But then I mentioned, like, if you want to make six figure consistently, you know, on autopilot, right? That idea, um, you are going to hate your life very, very soon. And then I talked about he will, and I talked about the number of people he had to get in, and it was a very niche thing, and in a very small audience. So it's like I started to have all these things and try to help him readjust his offer, but it was like, nah,
Mm.
this is just too much for me. I don't want that. I'm gonna try to do it on my own. I was like, okay, sure, no problem. I'm just here to bring awareness. If you feel like it's not a good fit, it's not a good fit. But I guarantee, like, I didn't say this, of course, but I guarantee in the 6 months from now, he's going to come back and say, Pedro, can you help me? Or someone else. It doesn't need to be
Yeah.
me, but someone else is going to be asking for help because 6 months later,
Mm.
I don't even know. It's not going to be good. It's not going to be good because the offer itself is going to suffocate the business.
Yeah.
So, again, this is another thing that when you are preparing an offer, like most coaches, what are they good is helping people with transformations, and that on its own
Mm.
is amazing. We need more of those people, in today's lives, in today's world. um but then again, if they want to do it successfully, consistently, without burning out, without becoming desperate and all that stuff, they need to prepare a business structure that allows them to do that
Mm.
profitably, and in a way that they are proud of their business and they don't want to quit with a burnout when they, in two
Yeah.
years from now.
I
But
actually
anyway,
think that's a great kind of way to end this off. I think that what you just said about, well, two things. First of all, just to reiterate the importance of profitability. So you have to make sure that it's genuinely and mathematically possible for you to
yeah,
be profitable. Like this guy is going to try run ads, and he is going to spend way more than $50 to sell a $50 course. He is going to be losing money passively. And it sounds sad, but if you're an ads genius, you try and get it under 50. But man, you need to have more to your offer. There has to be a back end, there has to be extras, there has to be order
yeah,
bumps, right? So that is more and more important. But what you just said about when things don't go right, you need to be doing a funnel, you need to be doing a business that you are so passionate about that you can be hit with the weight of the world of challenges and the funnel ain't going to work, the ads don't work, um, but you will maintain and you will get it to work. So I'm very curious in your opinion about what happens when, well, basically, what would you say to the coach that when things don't work out with a funnel, what are some things
Mhm.
that they can try and how can they like persist with
Right.
that mindset, the right mindset?
With the funnel specific, with their building their business, like with the funnel specific, or yeah. So
Exactly.
that's super simple. Like at the end of the day, we want to micro compartment the what a funnel is. So we want to understand if the message is right, if the offer is right, if it's something that people are looking for actively, or if it needs to have a lot more awareness stage. Everything is being done. Like how are we captivating people's attention? How are we getting them into our email, and then how we are nurturing them and reaching out to them, because it's not just acquire and forget. A lot of people do this. They acquire the leads. Awesome, I got 2,000 leads, amazing, and
Yeah.
then they don't do anything with that, right? So these are not leads, these are people looking for help. So you kind of need to let them know and let them feel that you can fulfill that part as well. So when I'm analyzing a funnel, if it fails, we need to understand from the moment they see the offer to the moment there they have a decision making process, which part is breaking. So of course
Mm,
we want to use tools to allow us to get more data from that, but we start with the first message that people see. So the creatives, the ad creatives, or if you are doing organic posts, the image, the hook, the
mm,
content, the CTA, and then we want to test, always testing like 3 4 5 times, always be testing more and more and more, and then we want to go for the next part, which is after they click, what's the first thing they see? Does it make sense? Does it enhance the curiosity? Does
mm.
it allow them to get clarity on what it is, who is it for, what they're going to get from it, right? Or is it doesn't add clarity? It sounds fancy, but it's not gonna, it doesn't give them any kind of a sense that this is the right place for me to be in. And then as we go through the sales page, we want to understand: is the storytelling right? Is the narrative good? Is this something that is touching the the emotional triggers that one has to talk about and to mention there? And if it is, people, how many people are landing on the order page? Right.
Mm.
And then on the other page, we need to do retargeting to try to identify how things are rolling. And then on the other page, what is the behavior people are taking there? And then we need to adjust the headline of the other page. We need to adjust the certainty boosters right there, the confidence booster, right? What we add on the other pages. And then after they buy, cool, what's happening next? How many people are taking the order bumps? How many people are confused? How many people are opening the email? How many people are taking the first step of the course or of the product that you are selling? So all these things are very, very important to then at the end of the day, we can analyze it with laser focus on what is happening, understand the pattern. And when we understand the pattern, this is guess, right? But we understand the pattern and we try to guess. And we throw
Exactly.
like 3 things, 5 things, 10 things and train. Then we closely, sooner or later we get to that point. So I mean, summarizing a little bit, that's what I do when something fails. We start with the offers. We understand the sequences. We understand what it's failing, and then we test, and test.
Someone out there is watching this going like, wait, you mean my funnel might not be broken? And we're both like, yeah, there's actually a very, as you can tell from the exceptional way you described it, there's a really systematic approach. And there is a ton of solutions to making a funnel work. And again, it all starts with the numbers. So you can see, all right, from the front till the time that they buy or don't buy, what are those numbers and where do people fall off? Is it the
Yep.
ads? Is it clicking through to the checkout? Is it they're on the checkout and they don't want to buy? Like, so it's very systematic. But yeah, I always love to say like it might most times it's not you and it ain't your offer that's broken. And so people get really
Yeah.
upset. I felt it too, man. I've turned off my ads a ton of times and I've felt butthurt, but I realized
Yeah.
no, the messaging just wasn't resonating with those people. and I need to start somewhere in between from the time they saw it to the time they didn't buy it. And perfect answer, man. So
I'm gonna give you just one example of
yeah.
something I worked recently. Was one webinar. The guys were having less than 1% conversion they wanted, and they sent me the information. I was like, okay, cool. You want a new design? Sounds good. I looked at the page. I was like, okay, I can make this happen for sure. I can make it better. And then I redesigned it, launched it. It went to 1.7%. Cool, awesome. We got it there, but it's not still there. So it's like, okay, we did a bunch of tests. I was like, but wait a minute. Like I need more information around how's the target coming, like how's the traffic coming here. Can you send
Mhm.
me the ads? Can you send me the creatives, the videos? And I was like, because I was working on a funnel that was built from a different funnel build before. So what I did like right away was just readjusting for the things that I would knew that how to improve that. And then I was like, wait a minute. I need more information about how's the buying journey, how's the process, where people are coming from.
Yeah.
So once I did that, I was like, of course, he's not converting at the percentage we want because the mass is completely different. I don't even know why they had these masses in the first place. So I was like, let me give you a couple of tries, a couple of runs, and then voila, we got to 3.5%. Everything was rolling, everything was better. And that was the two different adjustments, how the information was organized in the page and how the message made sense from where they came. And these things are very very important to also analyze. And by the way, just so I don't take too much of your time here, just one last thing. Whenever a coach is working with multiple different people, like they hire a Facebook ads manager, they hire a designer, they hire a copywriter, they hire whatever, like they either work together and they everything makes sense, or if it's just separately, you're probably getting yourself in a much complicated scenario. So it's worth it to hire people like Joshua, for example, where he understands the entire journey and can guide you through all the steps, and then help you get better and better results from there.
I appreciate that, man. Yeah, you're absolutely right. I've seen this myself a ton of times where the company or the client has an ads team and I build the funnel, and for some reason there is a disconnection. So at some point I'm like, okay, if my clients ever have an ads team, we are getting in touch. We're going to contact each other to make sure it's aligned for that client. So you're absolutely right. Again, same with yourself. Like you don't want to work with just a designer because these days it isn't enough. You need someone who understands marketing, who can help you tweak your offer like Pedro does to actually, again, having a pretty funnel is not enough. There's so many more parts to that. So to work with someone who understands the ads, messaging, copywriting, offers, and actually like making it work for you is really important to select the right person. Or again, just like we have both experienced, there'll be a time when we get contacted and it's someone who's gone to someone else. They've done a nice design, but that's about it, and then it's not working. And it's you need someone with more beyond that. So yeah, you're absolutely right, man. This has been incredible. That's honestly been the fastest hour of my life. So I really
I
appreciate all your
appreciate it.
incredible answers. It was really, really interesting to hear as well your story and where you came from. So any final words for the coaches in the world? They're like all excited. I'm gonna make a funnel, got the SLO, got the application funnel.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, any final words?
Believe in what you're doing, pay attention to what your clients are looking for and what they need, and if the first one doesn't work, keep going, build another one and another one. And the other day I watched the podcast. Apparently Russell Brunson launched 12 funnels before he had his one that could scale it. So if he did 12 times, why wouldn't be doing 12 times, 20 times, 30 times, whatever it takes? Don't quit. This is your business, this is your passion, this is your life. Keep rolling.
Incredible, man. Mic drop. Well, thank you so, so much. Where can people find
Appreciate it.
you? And I will put all your links in the description below. So if anyone resonated with Pedro, go and check him out and yeah, get in touch with him. So yeah, where can people find you?
So basically, funnelsgenius.com. This is my main website, funnelsgenius.com. Or if you want to get in touch in Facebook, you can also do that. So whatever,
Perfect.
like, feel free
Yeah.
to reach out that way.
Awesome. We'll have that Facebook link and the website link below. Man, I
Awesome.
appreciate you so much. It's been a pleasure.
Was great. It was great being here. It's always great talk with you, Joshua. Really, really like the work that you've been doing.
Likewise, man. Likewise. All right, man. Take care.